Question: Kickboxing versus Muay Thai, which is best?
Dutch kickboxing. Dutch kickboxing works on angles. If you see the history of Dutch kickboxing, why was Dutch kickboxing at one point of level more superior or winning more matches? Why was Ramon Dekers winning more matches against the Thais? You know why? Because these Dutch kickboxers found out what the Thais were not doing. Thais went in straight for the kill, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, bam, that, this, going in straight.
And they're very square.
They're very
Which
square.
is an easy recipe for a double leg.
Exactly. So now these Dutch kickboxers come and they come from learning karate, like ancient karate, right? So where they have this concept of Tai Shabaki. So what Tai Shabaki generally means is cutting angles.
Yeah. Hello and welcome, guys. This is a new episode of the Magicman pod, and as you can see today here with me, I have an esteemed guest, Mr. Arko Dasgupta from Combat Clan in Kolkata. So Arko, welcome to the Magic Pod.
Thank you, Piyush. It's a pleasure to be here. And, we have been speaking for a long time that we need to talk, we need to have this conversation. And,
We were trying to schedule a lot of Instagram calls as well, but
yes,
that didn't happen.
That did not happen.
Durga Puja mein bahut zyada busy tha, so finally
yes, I was eating.
Yes. Yeah. The favorite pastime of people of Bengal.
Yes,
or Kolkata.
eating and sleeping. हम लोग खाते हैं सोते.
And finally he told me that he's here in the city for some very special work, which he will elaborate in a minute. So there was no other good time to have him on the podcast. So once again, guys, thank you for coming here.
Thank you so much for having me. That's a big deal.
Do you watch our podcast? Have you seen any episode of it?
Little bit. To be very honest, I don't spend a lot of time on YouTube or Instagram, but I do keep watching the snippets that you keep uploading on Instagram. I know I am fully aware and updated, and I'm just maskamaring him because he invited me over, and I can't say that I don't watch it podcast. That would be so rude. But I know I do keep myself updated with the Magicman podcast.
Nice. So you said you're not into social media. Let's talk about that because in modern world, if you're running a business, especially in martial art community, if you're not online, it's very difficult to sell your product, what you're doing, show it to the world. Yeah. So talk about that. Why are you not on social media? Or why are you not active?
To be very honest, I think I'm very insecure when it comes to showing my stuff to the world. क्या होता है कि let's say if I'm doing a move, I want to do that move, I want to record it, I want to show it to the world. First of all, I think I'm very insecure कि मैं दिखाऊं क्या, मैं दिखाऊं क्या which already has not already been showed by people. So एक वो insecurity है, and I'm completely shy when it comes to talking in front of the camera because I think I look very weird.
Really?
My big eyes, lips very incoordinated, very incoherent speaking. And जब भी camera on होता है, I'm like blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, I stay away from camera, and especially with my insecurities. But I also understand that आजकल social media में, if you're not there, you are completely irrelevant. People who have less knowledge than you, less skill set than you, people who are completely irrelevant, maybe when it comes to being at the same table. With respect to knowledge of martial arts, as me or Piyush or anybody would have, they're selling their stuff. It's how good you look on Instagram. I think that sells more than how good you are in real life. What do you think about that?
Yes, how good you... I mean, when you talk about look, are you talking about the moves or you're talking about the physical appearance?
The abs are stealing my business. The tattoos and the abs, they are stealing my business.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why it's not on Instagram. You can't compete with people who are 6-pack and 8-pack ripped, It's
Dude,
so
have
difficult.
you seen? Okay, let's say I compare myself with some of these coaches. I'm not saying whether they're not good or not bad, but let me compare myself with these coaches, okay? I go onto their Instagram and every day, and these are friends of mine, people I know, and I keep getting updates, okay? Flex, thighs, 220 deadlift, 110 squats, and I'm like, what? I mean, not that I can't do a bench press or a squat or a deadlift, but they look that they were on Paulo Costa's secret juice, my man.
They are
training
for CrossFit.
Training for CrossFit. They have good tattoos, very bad accents, but still, they good tattoos, very bad accent. fairly Goda skin, and that's how they look, and I can't compete with that. I can't compete with that. So I'm a nerd when it comes to martial arts. Okay, I'm a complete nerd.
So you said one important point before when you're talking about the insecurity that you have regarding social media, and that was a lot of stuff which I'm trying to show is already out there, and much bigger coaches, better coaches are already showing that. So why do you think that should be a deterrent for you from posting whatever the stuff that you are teaching your own people at the gym?
That's a very good question, and I think it's a two-layered answer. It should not be a deterrent at all.
And I'll tell you why I asked that. Because yes, Danaher is producing one of, let's say, for example, we're talking about Danaher. He's producing the best content, the best techniques and everything. And everything is out there on the internet. But still, how many people are following Danaher worldwide? Think about that. Like, Absolutely. Even in our country like India, not much. I can count people on fingers, like 10 people or 15 people who actually watch his content. But the rest of the people who get into martial arts, who get into jiu-jitsu or MMA, they do not have access to his content. They probably don't even know about his existence. And that's where coaches like us can make that, that space, fill that space where we can repost even the same techniques that they are doing, maybe in a more Indian way or in a more coherent way for our own community, which can help us or help the community people.
To be very honest, as I said, it would be a very two-layered question, and I think it should not be a deterrent at all. It should not be a deterrent at all for people like me to post content. But as I say, when I say about my insecurities, this is just a personal stance, okay? So let's see, when I'm showing a move, when I'm showing a move or I'm showing a technique, people are like, okay, this is good, that is good. But when it's going out there, a lot of judgmental eyes out there. And I think it's a self-imposed insecurity. I have seen environments where, like, say, if I post something, whenever you post something, I still remember we have conversations over the technique. Yes. Okay, this can be done, that can be done. Right. But in my personal experiences, what has happened is, chalo, maine kuch post kar diya. Comment section lights up. DMs light up. Yeah. And, sometimes people that I train with, they are like, this should not be happening, that should not be happening.
Like, and I'm like, your own students?
Not my students, people that I know. Achha. People that I know. And for a fact, for the people, I know that, they discuss it, right. And it has always been that, I have been that guy that I would say that I don't give a 4-letter word at all.
You can say that? You can as much descriptive
I might come and tell you that I don't give a fuck about people's judgment, but I do. I think I'm a very sensitive person. I'm a very, very sensitive person when it comes to what people think about me. And sometimes I think the people that I train with, even my students, they sometimes judge me because I don't look the part of an MMA coach. Again, this might be all self-imposed. People might not be thinking it that way.
There's Javier Khabib's coach.
Huh? That Khabib?
Hernandez. What's his name?
Javier. Now I forgot. Coach Javier. Yes.
Coach Javier Fernandez. Yes. Yeah. So he's someone who is not looking the part of an MMA guy, right? Khabib's father did not look. So I think that's a very bullshit criticism that you have to. Danaher can't even compete.
Yeah.
Because he has bad.
Yeah. Means hips. That's what I said. It's all self-imposed.
Yes.
And I had been. Come on, can bullying be one of the reasons? See, I was a very fat kid, been bullied all my life, and I came into martial arts because I wanted to get, get away from that bullying, be confident in what I did. Yeah. But I think I carried that, those things, those sentiments with me. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to post things because people might judge. I'm saying that you should not be that way. Now, today I'm actually realizing I should be posting more stuff. I should be more confident in it's not that I'm not confident, because when I'm beside that cage and you have seen me cornering, when I'm teaching my stuff, I'm like completely confident on what I can teach and what level I can do. I know I'm there. But somehow when I try to post it, it does not come out that way. But I have battled this insecurity throughout my life. I have battled this inferiority complex throughout my life, and I think now at my age, I'm slowly, very slowly, I'm trying to overcome it more and more. Nice. You will see me posting more videos, like with my pad work. You will see me coming out and talking about all this much more. I never used to take seminars outside. Why? Because I thought, okay, am I good enough to take seminars? But then I thought, why am I thinking like this? Why am I thinking like this? I should actually go and take seminars outside. I should actually go and teach. Then I actually found out, all this were just self-imposed limitations. It's all in my head.
Yeah.
And the fact when people say that, if you want to be good, you can be good. It's all in your head. It's right. It's all in my head. It was all in my head. But yes, I still can't compete with the tattoos and the chest like a Herculean guy. Dude, yeah. Dude, I'm like, okay, open Instagram early in the morning. I'm like, okay, sorry, not happening. The next guy, new tattoos coming soon. Why? This is the people that I have to compete with.
That is something which will genuinely give you inferiority complex. But just to close in that section, people being judgmental in the comment section or even talking behind your back, bad mouthing you, things like that. I think first of all, as from the marketing point of view, they say no publicity is bad publicity. Right?
Absolutely not.
So even if people start talking shit on your comment section, that's good for you.
Yeah.
Because that will revamp the Instagram algorithm, and a lot of content creator use this exact strategy where they'll post cringe shit on purpose.
Dude, you have to. That's why I always come on podcasts, because I think one of the saving graces that I have is my talent to have a conversation. I'm good at that. I'm good at holding conversations, and if you've seen my podcasts before, the hate comments just keep on coming, and I love that.
So you should embrace it. So
I am embracing it.
That's one way to get past it. And the other facet of that is nobody is perfect. First of all, in a market like India, where we are just growing in the community as a martial art itself, we don't have hundreds and thousands of black belts so that everyone's level is super high enough. And even in US, places like US, where they have 5,000 black belts in like a kilometer, let's just say, exaggerating. So even there, you will see that there are black belts who have been doing it for 20, 30 years and they are not doing the perfect things.
Yeah.
So how can you blame yourself or put pressure on yourself just because 2 other white belts are commenting on your post saying his technique is not perfect? Nobody has the perfect technique, at least in a market like India. So we all are growing. We all are growing with time. Even my technique, it is today, it will not be the same maybe in 5 years. We'll all keep improving and learning as the sport evolves as well.
Yeah.
Whatever was true 10 years back is now no longer the truth.
Absolutely.
Right? As a martial art. So all of these things evolve with time. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. Let people comment. Actually make people comment. Figure out more strategies.
Yeah, I really found out that what you just said, it actually holds more salt to it. And I now let people comment on. So recently I had been, when I shut down my gym. And, a lot of people were speaking a lot of things. And I'm like, cool, keep speaking. Because, when they speak, it's that time when I know 2 things where I need to make myself better at, and that I'm spoken about.
Yeah.
Like I'm on people's mind. People are thinking about me.
In modern world, especially this internet friendly world, I think attention is the currency, real currency.
Absolutely.
Money comes if you have attention. And that's what guys like Dylan Dennis, Logan Pauls have capitalized on. And I'm not saying to go completely that way where you're disregarding your real skills for just being a trash talker. But if you can garner attention, Gordon Ryan has done this beautifully. He just talks smack so much that people want to watch him lose. And the more they want to watch him lose, Floyd Mayweather, he had aced this strategy before Gordon.
Yeah.
Where you become so
Chael Sonnen.
So Chael Sonnen, the guy who everyone hated. So you have to garner attention. If you are not the top of the heap, maybe you can't do it with the skills. You have to create some sort of interest where people are talking about you. And if they talk about you, you already are in their head.
Absolutely. And I think, we should have opinions. You should have opinions.
Yes.
And your opinions should be out there. Too many of us have opinions and are sitting on the sidelines not saying things. And this is what happens, when you have opinions and when you don't say it, and when you're not backing it up with logic, which most of us might have, the people, they're creating a monopoly on opinions. They're creating a monopoly on what you should think, on what should be the common trend. So people with opinion who can back it up with facts should speak.
Yes. And even if you can't back it up, just say it as,
because you think.
There was this famous Greek philosopher, I think Voltaire, or Russian. I think it was Russian. He said that I may not agree with you, but I'll give my head for your ability or for your right to speak. you know.
Absolutely.
So that is something which is very important, especially in a democracy like India right now, where people are afraid to speak. I think, that'll be venturing too much into politics. But let's come back and let's talk about you a little bit more. Tell me, how did you get into martial arts in general? You have been doing it for a long time now. Yeah. I know that. Tell me how you got into it.
So, back in school, and I think I'm like the 10,000 other kids that, the way they started it. I was overweight. I was bullied. I was looking for a martial arts. And, I still remember Fight Science was coming on National Geographic.
And what year was this?
I saw Baz Rutten.
What year are you talking about?
I forgot the year. It was quite, at least 16, 17 years ago.
Okay.
I think 18 years ago.
So 2000s basically.
Yeah. And I saw, so these were the guys that I saw. I saw Dean Lister. I saw Baz Rutten. I saw Randy Couture. And I saw Rickson Gracie. And I was thinking to myself, what are these guys doing? Because I had seen boxing. Everybody knew boxing. Everybody knew karate because everybody was doing karate back at that point of time. Yeah. But I see Tito Ortiz take a dummy and body slam it. Now I know it's called a body slam or a double leg takedown. At that point of time, he just picked it up and dropped it on his head. And then I saw the natural Randy Couture perform a rear naked choke, and I was like, wow. And then Dean Lister came in with a leg lock, and Rickson Gracie did a crucifix.
And this was all on that show.
And on that show, and they were testing how hard they hit, how hard they can choke, how long they can last as UFC athletes. It was around the time of Ultimate Fighter 1.
Okay.
And then in a channel called AXN, that channel does not even go on air right now. They broadcasted Ultimate Fighter 1. You had Stephen Bonner, you had Forrest Griffin, you had likes of Diego Sanchez as a middleweight. You had Kenny Florian, Ray Stevenson.
I don't know.
Sorry, Joe Stevenson, not Ray Stevenson. That's Joe Big Daddy Stevenson. You had guys like this coming in, and that legendary fight, I saw it. Forrest Griffin fighting Stephen Bonner.
Oh, you saw that.
Yeah, and I was hooked. I was like, okay, I really, really need to do that shit. But, what I liked the most was the submission part of it. Because I saw Rickson Gracie. Then you had Fight Quest, where these two guys, not Fight Quest, yes. You had...
They traveled to different places.
Yeah, you had Jimmy Smith.
Yeah.
And they went to Brazil, and they were doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was like, I need to do this stuff. Then I got into Judo. And when I got into Judo, it was not Jiu-Jitsu, but it was something very close.
Similar. You had the same kimonos at least.
Yes, at least. And then I think I started going to my first MMA training center. That came up at that point of time in Cal. And that was the only MMA center. I think that came... No, there was another team also. There were two teams that were operating. I don't know how legitimate of a MMA place that was, but I saw it. I found it on Google.
As a white belt, you don't know anybody.
So I went there, and unbeknownst to me, I tried to manage these fighters. Okay, so two very close friends of mine, I managed these people, and we were successful enough to do a show called FCC in Bombay. A very good friend of mine, Prashant Kumar, used to run this underground fight scenes.
That's right.
And we went there, and after that, I just became hooked. I think. Before even becoming a competitor, I became a coach. I think in the first year of me trying to learn stuff, I was teaching people stuff.
Alright, so guys, we'll be back on the other side. Very quick break. Boom. Alright, we are back. Next segment. So we are talking with Arko about how he started his journey. And he told us how he started at a gym in Kolkata. And then he ended up being a coach and a manager before he could actually become a fighter.
Yes, I did. Means like the first year, in the first 6 months, forget 6 months, I think.
So how did they put you in that spot? Did they tell you ki, just coach our guys, or
no? So I'll tell you what had happened. So at that point of time, when I first went into this MMA gym, they had a couple of mats, and they had two coaches that were already there, and then there was me. And by this time, I already had some judo experience.
Okay,
and I was very good at learning from YouTube. Sensei YouTube. So I'm very good at learning from that. So I was trying to train, and he was learning how to punch and kick. And by this time, I know where to search for kicking videos and punching videos and all this kind of stuff. So they had a couple of guys coming in. And the head instructor there said, okay, can you just show them certain things? Not that he had any idea what I had to show, because he did not know anything. So I was just showing them an armbar. This guy comes to me and says, okay, you can do an armbar pretty well. I said, yeah, I come from a judo background, so that's why I know how to do an armbar. Well or not, I didn't know. So what happened was that as soon as I started taking those like 1 or 2 sessions, I became a coach. And I was it was always said into my ears, you are not that good of a competitor. Dude, I didn't even compete at that point of time, okay? And it's like, you can be a very good coach. And I thought that became my reality, that became, I could be a coach. And dude, I was doing leg locks without even knowing, okay? And I was thinking to myself, I know so much. Now, on hindsight, if I tell you 15 years ago what I was teaching, I would go actually take a knife and stab myself. Dude, die. You don't belong as a coach. Die.
Unfortunately, a lot of people who are doing the same shit today don't have that realization. It's always hindsight tells you better from experience.
I would not hire myself if I knew I was that, I would not hire myself. I would not even let anybody close to my guy, close to any fighter in this world if I was that.
So how did you go from there, from learning and then becoming a coach to your fighters at the gym, to opening your own gym?
It's a very, very long journey, and you got to bear with me, okay? It's a very long journey. So as I was teaching there, the place's name was 360 Degree Sports. And when I was teaching at 360, I was with them for 7-8 years.
Who was the owner of this place?
Still is Partho Sarkar, Partho Sarathi Sarkar. And we don't look eye to eye at all. Means we don't.
That usually happens with your first coach.
It's not. Believe me, I had my first coaches in a lot of things, and I have pretty good relationship with most people. I just don't have a very good relationship with this particular person, because I think this particular person will also see and share the same views. We don't look eye to eye at all. Means it's like,
what happened there?
So I'll tell you. That's why you need to be patient, because it's a very layered story. So 8 years I had been with this dude and with the entire team. I was me and Shiba from Alpha Omega. Shiba.
Yes.
So Shiba and me both started together at 360. We were both coaches. He was also a fighter, but I was just coaching because I sucked as a fighter, or at least that what I was told. So we were both teaching, and we curated their jiu-jitsu team. At that point of time, nobody knew jiu-jitsu, so it was me and Shiba who were training these kids. And this kid, remember the first jiu-jitsu championships that they had in Bangalore? 2013 or 15, if I'm not wrong.
I was not on the scene back then.
Yeah, 2013 or 14. This was the first jiu-jitsu, like the jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Was it
SJJIF or?
No, not SJJIF. The JAI one.
Okay.
So they had their first nationals, and I remember I bought my team. We were 11 people. We had 13 medals.
Wow.
And we did gi, no gi, and whether you surprisingly you heard of this competition called Subcontinentals?
Yes, I heard.
In Bangalore.
Yeah.
So me along with my team, and so Aditya from Ronins was also there at that point of time, because we were all in 360. Aditya Saha. Shayan was also all my previous former students of mine. So Aditya, Shayan, all my former.
So all of these guys
are my former students. Achha. So I taught. I started training them. They came to 360. They were all my students, and they were pretty good at that point of time. And we all went to Subcontinentals, and we were fighting guys from IJJ, ICSA, and we were doing good. 3 of my guys, including Shiba, because he was already good. Means I was not Shiba's coach, but we were both colleagues,
contemporary guys, yeah.
Contemporaries, and we were doing good. We got gold medals, we got our silver. And we beat some of these guys, the top gyms at that point of time. I think where we lost it was, then Shiba had a rift. Shiba went out, but I still kept on with
Shiba
360.
Had a rift with
Partho, and he went out, and he was completely legitimate in having that rift. And he went out, and he was silent for a couple of years, and then he opened Alpha Omega. I stayed on with 360, and I was still their head coach at this point of time. So I was taking their kickboxing classes, I was taking their MMA classes, and I was taking their grappling classes, like the jiu-jitsu classes.
So you were like the main coach then?
I was like the main coach. So I think after 4 or 5 years of establishment, the first MMA guys came out of those gym, came out of 360. I had 5 people fighting in Yoda Fighting Championships, YFC, that happened in Bhubaneswar, and we lost very close decisions, and we won some. So we won some, and then we lost some close decisions. And the problem started happening when we were expanding, and I was also getting this realization that I was not enough. I was not enough because I had to go and learn. So and I kept seeing this very tiny, what I might say, tiny situations happening. Like I would say, okay, they were focusing more on bringing in people and earning money. I was saying, okay, let's get the quality of training up.
Right.
Taking money from people is not going to help you if the quality of training is not up. That was one of the conflict that they had.
So how would you get the training, quality of training? What ideas did you pitch them?
So I'll give you an example. So 4 people were selected for the World Championships or Asian Championships. I don't know. World Championships, because Aditya at that point of time had already won the Southeast Asians. He got a bronze.
Okay.
And we were supposed to send 4 people to the World Jiu-Jitsu Championship that was happening in Thailand. Right? So I had 4 guys. I had Mohammad Shanawaz, Ali, a guy called Aprotim, and Aditya, and we needed to send them. I said, don't send them. Because the training was going to cost, the whole trip was going to cost them around 50K. At least they were charging.
Yeah.
And I said, don't send them to a world championship because they would lose. And they lost. I said, okay, send them to AK.
Misalignment of
Send
intention.
them to these training clubs. Let them stay there for 1 month. Let them train. By the time they get back, they can take classes here. I can go.
Right.
I can train. I can come back. Or I can go to, places like IGJ. I can go places like cross train. Who are going outside and training.
Basically, you suggested that let's have some camp, some sort of cross training.
Exactly.
Going on.
Instead of focusing on, and he was like, oh, no, we have to do competitions. And I'm like, we are only charging these guys like close to 50-60K to go to Thailand and to lose.
Yeah.
That's not making any sense. That's not making any sense.
So this 50K was the entire trip cost, or just like the
I would not be able to
registration
tell you, but I think it's the trip and the registration.
Okay.
But JI was also sponsoring something at that point of time. They were good enough to actually sponsor us something.
Are they still in business, JJI?
JI, I think yes. I think yes. So what was happening is I did not absolutely support the fact of sending the athletes to this world championship. One, I thought they needed better training and a better coach at that point of time because I did not have the knowledge to train them. Secondly, what was happening is I think they were being overcharged. And when I said it, all hell broke loose. Okay, I walk away. The problem still did not start. I walk away. And I was not even thinking of opening my own gym. I finished my master's in journalism. I was working as an RJ. I had my own, everything was going. Then I heard rumors getting spread around that I was stealing 2 students and I was putting them in somebody else's gym.
Yeah.
Dude, I was not even stealing them from myself. I was like putting them in somebody else's gym. I don't know, that I thought it was very creative.
Yeah.
What it led to was that I was also training at the Calcutta Judo Club at that point of time. And what it led to was the fact that they came into the club, and when these rumors and these people got in touch with the administration of the club, they thought I would do the same thing, and I got banned from my own club. My own coach and the administration from Judo Club said, please don't come from tomorrow.
2-on-2 podcasts with people getting banned by judo federations.
And my coach said, please don't come for tomorrow. It's creating a lot of ruckus because they don't want MMA people or people from Jiu-Jitsu to be here in Judo. And I was like, okay, nobody pays me there.
Yeah.
I go and pay you and I train there. Some of my students, when they saw that I was leaving 360 and I was training here, came down to train with me.
Yeah,
it's natural. I was not charging them. Yeah. They were paying the judo club, a maintenance and the coach. I did not charge anything. This rumor started spreading. Okay. Still fine. I was training one of my guys for a competition and we casually went to this kickboxing competition that was happening, that was organized by 360, and I was standing outside and I was speaking to my colleagues because I know everybody there. This person comes in and says that, what are you trying to do, steal more students? And I'm like, what? And he made a public scene. And I'm saying, I'm going all, if you go one more sentence, I'm going all stone cold on everybody's ass. I'm opening a whole can of wopas on everybody. So, on a serious note, we had a serious bout of back and forth. And that's the time I don't like him and he doesn't like me.
Let's talk a little
and that's what got me, so any competition that he has or he controls, we are not allowed there. So I'll give you another thing. This guy who has never done wrestling in his life, he doesn't know how to tie his wrestling shoes. Probably the 10-year student that I have can double leg him more times than he can, I don't know, tie his wrestling shoes. Dude, he's the district in charge for wrestling there.
Most of the time is these usual suspects who have generally no background, no idea of what to do in the sport.
And when I actually messaged them that, okay, I have a fully matted wrestling space. We have a good 2,000 square feet space. We want to take a wrestling affiliation in your districts. You know what is henchman, chief henchman, which is a woman, what she told me? It's my baap ka zamindari, I will not give you. Insane. I just love the drama in the martial arts scene.
So
I'm getting death threats after this.
Especially these federations, man. They act so they monopolize the whole sport in a way in which they can control, if you can train or if they can allow your students to train or not. I think the best way to move forward is just ignore these people. In the sport like Jiu-Jitsu, at least, there is not many federations who will dictate what you are going to do or what competitions you can compete in. So that way I like Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, because MMA also does not have a lot of federations. Which
absolutely, and that's why I prefer these two sports, because nobody is going to come and pick up the call and tell me, you can't go here, you can't go there. It's much more of a free environment, much more of a free ecosystem. And I'm like, cool. I love MMA. That's why I take my guys, there are so many competitions that you guys are doing and I get to take my guys. It's much more of a free space. It's much more of a free space, and we have breathing space.
And that's the way I think modern sports should be structured. All these federations do is they just politicize the environment. They will make it more personal battles that you'll have to go. If you don't like the coach, or if the coach does not like you, the federation guy does not like you, now they can ruin your entire 5 to 6 years career that you
and they do. And that's a vendetta that you should not have. Michael Chandler still visits his old wrestling team and they train him for fights. And you have Gable Stevenson, who's in WWE and trying to do MMA, still goes and does Olympic trials. Who gives a shit?
And it all boils down to this feudalistic mentality of poaching, because what is poaching? If I'm teaching somewhere or training somewhere, and when I leave to start my own venture, maybe there will be people who will be influenced by my coaching or by my personality, by whatever, who want to come and train with me. So you can't call out people and say that, oh, he is poaching because he has left.
This Creonte culture, I think it's called the Creonte culture in BJJ, but I don't understand it at all. Let's say I was teaching somewhere. Let's say I was teaching in 360. And this is how Combat Clan came to be, right? So at this point of time, I did not want to open my own club. Two of my old students who were still training in 360, they had fights coming up, and MMA fights coming up. And I was training them, and unbeknown to these guys, I said, you can represent 360, but if you're not getting good training there, I will train you. Okay, I was training them down low. I did not publicize it anywhere. We were training in the rooftop and we had just few mats to train MMA. One day before their weigh-in, I was in my office. I am calling them, how's your weight cut going? These people say, we are here alone. We have nobody to do our weight cuts. And I said, okay, I'm coming down. By this time, Combat Clan did not even exist. I fly down, then this is Bhubaneswar. So it's a 6-7 hours ride from Cal. Right. I get down there and I asked, when are these people coming? When are your coaches coming? Because I was not officially their coach. I was also not officially their team. And at this point of time, I did not want to poach anybody. So they called and they said, okay, we might not be able to come. You do the fights alone. Just think, if I was not there, their weight cut would have been miserable, right? They don't know how to do it. They are your fighters, right? Yeah. They don't know how to do it. Okay, they still did it. Who's going to corner them when they are going to fight tomorrow? And it's MMA. The risk of injury
sport,
is real. It's a real sport. They did not make it till the next morning. Till the next morning, the day of the fight. And I had said, like, fuck it. I went to the organizers there and I said, okay, they are not going to represent 360 anymore. And the organizers there told me, okay, they are not going to represent 360. Who are they going to represent? And I was like, what? And suddenly, out of nowhere, out of the blue, I just said Combat Clan. I just said Combat Clan.
Oh, you didn't even have the name Combat Clan?
No, at that, I just blurted out these two words. Combat Clan, okay, just put down that name. And I did not even have any intention to get that name going, going forward. These guys came in, made a whole lot of ruckus. Why are you stealing our students? I said, fuck off. You did not have the decency to come up and show up for your fighters. And these are the guys that have trained for like 7-8 years. I'm not going to let you walk over them. Okay. Combat Clan came into existence.
And let the fighters decide who the fuck are you.
And the fighters were with me even after that for way many years.
And they are paying you, not the other way around, right? I don't think.
And I didn't charge. Even at that point of time, I did not charge any fighters. But they were paying 360. They were paying 360.
Yeah.
And you did not have the responsibility to come in for your own fighters. So you should not be anyway have the right to have your to coach those guys. Yeah. I didn't poach them.
I think Indian MMA is filled with stories like this where people who are coaching their students, they start feeling empowered to like encroach upon their entire life decisions in some way, right? Where they will try to represent you even if you don't want. They will try to influence where you want to fight, where you don't want to fight.
I think the sense of entitlement on both sides is too much, my man.
Yes.
The sense of entitlement on the side of the coach is like, okay, I'm your coach, I should be your big daddy. And even some of the fighters are like, okay, you are my coach, you should be my big daddy.
Yes, they give them the power.
Yeah, so it's like a two-way street, and I think it's a professional relationship. We have 4 hours in a day. I train you, you come and you pay me.
Yeah.
I train you, you go. What I do in my personal life and what you do in your personal life, it should not be affecting you till the time it affects our work. Yeah, if it affects our work, you can come and tell me, but I cannot be judgmental to that person. That person cannot be judgmental towards me, because that's how logic runs, 100%. Right? That's how logic runs. But also for the fact that the problem with Indian MMA is, how many coaches do you know who teach MMA, know MMA?
Yeah. A lot of them are just running off that YouTube. Probably they don't even watch YouTube, because YouTube has such great content these days that you can really be a good, useful instructors, learning from the best, watching the best guys spar, roll, things like that. But I don't think people even try to study the art that they claim to teach. And it is such an important thing. It's not like skating. Skating is, okay, still it's dangerous. You can break your ankles. But here you are going to break your face if you don't do it right.
Absolutely.
And you can damage your brain. Like, the stakes are very, very high. So if you are not taking that onus on yourself as a coach to be the best coach that you can be for the fighter, like, it's very shameful if you think about this.
Yeah, means I have taken long breaks, and I have taken a step back numerous amount of times, because I thought I was not being able to be the best coach for my fighters. Being the best coach for your fighters, now I think today, 5 years ago, it was like, okay, I know this much, I'm going to train my fighters this way. I think today you will agree with me, Piyush, that even when you train Jiu-Jitsu or MMA, right, it boils down to what the meta is right now, and the meta is different for different levels, and the meta is different for different countries. In India, the common approach to MMA might be different. Competition training might be different. Off-season training might be different, and people don't do these categorizations. I think a good coach needs to have a notebook, and has to have categories and plans for training. A coach that does not have plans for training can't tell you your week 6 from your week 1.
Right.
He's not doing a good job. And see, MMA is you don't have standards. Like, if you are a wrestling coach or a judo coach or a boxing coach, you go to NIS. They get, okay, you're a nationally certified coach. You know how to coach.
Yeah.
Because some authority in India, Sports Authority of India, gave you that certificate. In MMA, I can call myself an MMA coach. Tom, Dick and Harry can call you.
You can call yourself 10th degree black belt in MMA. There are coaches
There are coaches. You have a black belt in boxing in West Bengal.
Yeah, wow. Boxing is
You have a black belt in boxing in West Bengal. He's like 10 degree black belt in dragon style, and also a black belt in boxing.
Yeah. I think Kolkata has a lot of these bullshit guys as well, right? You were talking about that chin conditioning guy.
What's a dragon style?
What's a dragon style? I think you need to ask the dragon. You need to ask the dragon. Because dragon ain't telling me no shit. I don't know. There are guys who do chin conditioning. So 10 minutes away from my former gym is this gym. I'll take their name. It's Battlebond Sports. It's run by this doofus called Keshav Sardar. Okay.
Is it the same gym that we shared on our
Yes.
Okay.
So he makes a female student stand, wears his gloves, and he's a 61, 62 kilo guy, and he's punching
her face.
Some people came into the comment section and says, this is completely fine. She will get punched in a match anyways, even in sparring. Okay, I completely understand. That is but intentional shots to your chin, that too of a female student who is half his weight. Wow. And insane. It is called chin conditioning. Okay, I might be a doofus. I might have something against, Piyush might have something against this. He was shared by, he's the only person that I know in my vicinity whose videos had been shared by McDojo Live twice. He is that kind of a celebrity, twice, my friend, twice. And the comment section was switched off. And thanks to his chin conditioning video, I at least got 5 students because we were discussing in the comment section what kind of a doofus he is. And these students hit me up. Sir, we are actually thinking to go to the battle bonds. I'm like, hell, I will give you 50% discount. You come to my gym.
This is the correct way to post student guys. Go to all these
comment sections, and this is what I did, right? I started doing
nice marketing strategy.
Nice marketing strategy. So every time they do this, I'm like in the comment section. That's how I get my students.
Insane. Yeah, there are a lot of gyms, or not even gyms, like these just random dudes from South India who
and
get
have you
featured on
seen, you should see the Battlebond poster, So it's like Battlebond.
Like the name is only a red flag.
They are born out of battle. They are born out of battle. I don't know which battle they are fighting. But we live in a model world. There ain't no battle happening in Calcutta at least. Okay, so there is Muay Thai. He knows Muay Thai. He knows grappling. So he knows grappling. He knows Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. He knows MMA. Fantastic. He knows kickboxing. Again, fantastic. He also does wrestling. Okay. So he does all this. Can you tell me when was the last time you ever saw a world-class athlete or coach in all 4 styles?
A prodigy, bro.
It's a prodigy.
Probably was coaching.
What's his name is, like his fight name, his pseudonym is?
What is it?
Gold Panther. Gold Panther. He's black as hell and I don't know where the gold comes from.
Oh my god. So cringe.
It is.
Yes, we'll give them a shout out.
Battlebond.
Unka Instagram link.
Yeah, please. And so him and his wife take care of that whole Battlebond space. Oh my god. They are lucky that I actually shut down my gym beside their gym.
I always think why people go to these places. What do you think is the mentality which attracts people to these gyms?
Have you seen this interview by Firaz Zahabi with Joe Rogan? There is this excerpt, okay? So I'm giving his exact example. You have two jiu-jitsu gyms, right? One, you have hard training and one you have no hard training. Soft training. You go here 16 months, you're a blue belt. You go here 3 years and the jiu-jitsu instructor is like, you're still not a blue belt. So where would you have maximum people going? People where their ego is brushed in a positive way. Because here, your ego is crushed every day. It's a hard place. Right. You are held accountable to do your shit the right way. Right? So when you provide a situation or when an ecosystem where, oh, nice, 1, 2, 3, wow, what a kick. Obviously, you're not in the business of producing fighters. Right. You are in the business of producing teddy bears. I see, and this is what I think about people. People don't know whether they are fighters or whether they aren't fighters on the first day they want to do martial arts. It's our job. Everybody is a fighter, dude. I'll tell you, everybody can fight. But let's say, sir, I want to learn martial arts. I don't know what I would do. Okay, the first day they come in, I brush their ego. Okay, I've spoiled this guy for life because he will never survive a strong or a hard place. They will not survive. But I give them the correct environment where they should learn martial arts the way it is. I'm changing that person's life. So it is not the people's fault. People are going anywhere and everywhere. People are going and people are staying there. And more people are going there word of mouth because one thing in West Bengal that happens, association runs wild. Yeah, I think it's the same here, right? Wherever the associations are.
What do you mean association?
So you have black belts in
gyms?
kickboxing, right? You have black belts in kickboxing. So these people organize. They run their own associations. I can give you 5 places to compete in. So okay, we can get places to compete. And once you have like 150 students coming in, they would be like, okay, if you go out of our place and compete anywhere else, the associations that you belong to will ban you. Now you have 150 scared people and who don't know how to get out, and they also don't want to stay in.
Right.
And that's the fact. I get DMs, I get calls. Sir, we want to leave this place. We want to come train.
But we can't compete.
But we can't.
So mainly most of these guys are fighters, right? I find like majority of people who come to a gym, like even Rebel, they are not fighters. So they're not looking to actively transition into MMA or something, which will impede their progress in competing within these associations.
No, these are not only fighters. These are general people. Nobody wants to be a part of a cult, my man. When you run these kind of shitholes, it becomes a cult at some point of time, where the grandmaster short guy comes in and tells you, okay, this is how you should have your life. Means classes at 360 and in a 2-hour class, 2.5 hours went
in lectures.
Yeah, and if you had 5 minutes left, they would roll. They would still do that shit. And people think I come very heavy on these people. But if I don't come heavy on these people as being in the same industry as they are, who will?
Right. I think it's a good general guideline to adhere to, that if you go to a gym where people are talking for half an hour and teaching a technique in like 45 minutes, and then
how do you break guard?
Then you get to drill for like 5 minutes.
I'm asking Piyush, how do you break guard?
You stand up.
You stand up. That's how you do it. That's how Elio did it, right? So I'll tell you on this instant, how do you break guard? You pull top mount.
You just give them the top mount.
And so you first pull them and you turn so that get top mount. Then you try to escape. Because escaping top mount somehow
is easier.
Easier than staying in guard.
Wow.
Somehow.
Doesn't make sense to you, right?
Misalignment of intention.
You would get it. It means Piyush got it. But so seriously.
You know that meme, right? That close guard and mount are same in space.
Same in space. Yeah. This is the same principle. This is the same principle. These are the same people who charge shitload of money for competition.
This is a cosmic theory of close guard and mount. That
absolutely.
We mere mortals cannot get our head of the
This is Don Janaher kind of thing. John Danaher can't fathom what Don Janaher thinks.
I think on the other side, mount is definitely one of the scariest position either in grappling or modern MMA.
Absolutely.
Mount has become one of the scariest positions.
One of the scariest, and I think what's more scary is half guard and a person who knows how to hold top mount, because that is scarier.
Yes.
Because the top guy has more options. Because when you sit on a top mount and an MMA guy, at least you're sitting on the biggest spring that the guy has. He will try to move and see what Khabib does. More than top mount, he will get top half and pummel you from there, because he can get that underhook, he can control that top arm, he can control those so-called hooks. And if you don't have an underhook from your bottom half, you have nothing. These guys have hard whizzers. So I always tell people, at least my guys, whoever fight, you get top mount, fantastic. You get top half, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, we'll continue right after this. We have a lot of people in this room who have gotten banned from different places.
I can only tell you this room has more banned substance than anywhere in India.
Okay, so we were talking about half guard and the mount. So just to elaborate a little bit my perspective also on it. What makes half guard so devastating, as you said, even sometimes better than top mount, is the ability of you to prevent them from standing up.
Exactly.
Because half guard, you cannot really bridge people. Half guard, the only way that you can get out of it is by winning an underhook, starting to stand up. And to stand up, you require your right leg, the bottom leg, to get pulled out.
Exactly.
In any kind of technical stand-up, hip heisting, all of those methods.
And also you need to post with the other hand, which in MMA, if you do, your defending hand is gone.
Yes. You cannot block the shots. And because you're sitting in the half guard and you're controlling that bottom leg, you're putting weight on it. Now it's extremely difficult, if the person is doing it correctly, for you to get out of that position. So you can technically, in theory, hit people for unlimited time whereas they are stuck in that position, and there are multiple ways now to counter the underhook as well. So you can actually stuff their underhook every single time and continue to hit. And Khabib actually innovated this great position where he does not even believe in underhooking people from top. Because if
he just holds that hand down, Michael Johnson.
Yes, if you underhook people, what happens is now you're so close to them that you do not actually have power in your shots. So what he does is he just sits on top of their leg with their knee shield, with their everything involved. He floats on the top of their frame, and from there he starts a launch shot. And the only thing that the person can do is try to wrestle up. He shuts down their wrestling again, holds them down, gets up, beats them up.
And if you see what Khabib does, and most of these Dagestani people who are coming out of this school of training, they get this position near the cage.
Yes, where one side is already
exactly shut. So once the head is being controlled by the cage wall, it's definitely very hard to do. And now your shots will not, as soon as I post with my supporting hand, even if the other hand is holding on a whizzer or an underhook or whatever, what's going to happen is my face is completely empty. I'm going to get pummeled. And half guard works better when you have the knee line, just crossing, and your knee line is basically controlling their legs, and or deep half where you can underhook the far leg. In MMA, I think the Dagestani guys and Khabib and his school, and I have found this great way of shutting that down. And that's why I prefer, people getting top half rather than full mount. Because on a full mount, there is always that bridge. And if you don't know how to actually hold on, people think it's very easy to hold on to full mount, which is not.
It's not.
It is not. If you don't know how to actually hold on to full mount, you'll fall.
Whenever people bridge, and if you are caught off guard, as I said, you'll fall. So you need to know how to immediately transition to the back position.
Yes, and or an S guard if you're good at
S-mount,
it. Yeah. So S mount.
I think even the back position now in the modern MMA has lost its significance as much as it has in the jiu-jitsu, because it's very difficult to finish people if you have them in the back control because of the gloves.
Yeah, absolutely. Islam Makhachev versus Volkanovski won, right? Yeah. What did Volkanovski do in the first match? He just controlled one hand and he was blocking with the other. Now, if I can't control you, those punches aren't landing because your face is away from me. Your face is not towards me. And see, when John Danaher says, okay, the back is the place that we want to go, I think of course I don't know more than him, but what I'm saying, it works with respect to people like a Demian Maia or Ortega, who can finish it with the rear naked choke.
Even Demian Maia, if you remember the match with Masvidal, he had the back control for the entire round and he couldn't finish Demian Maia. He just stood up and kept controlling that cross hand. It's the fact that
he got knocked out against Tyron Woodley.
Yes,
that backpack did not work.
It's the fact that the gloves make it so hard to find that neck.
Exactly.
Right? So a guy like Charles Oliveira can get it in transition. He can go over the face and then he can start to lock and squeeze just with the mechanical power of himself.
But if you see Charles Oliveira's game, he catches these chokes or he catches them in transitions and scrambles and scrimmages. He's not setting them up like, okay, I get this hand, okay, let's elongate this hand, trap this hand. He's not doing that. All his rear naked choke finishes, he's catching them in transitions. When the hands are like here,
when they're posturing up.
Even his triangles, even his triangles. When he was a featherweight, he was cutting that, and his standing rear naked choke that he took, I forgot against who. But you see, that guy went to stand up, hands were completely down. That's where he caught the neck. Yeah, that's where it is happening.
Oliveira's game is very opportunistic. Like his jiu-jitsu is all opportunistic. Especially what I was trying to
drive home. It's not pressure jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. What I was trying to drive home with that back conversation is why back is now no longer the best position to be in MMA. Is because whenever you have someone's back, especially when they are on top of you and you are on the bottom holding the seat belt and the hooks and the body triangle, now throughout the time that you are trying to work that choke and they are trying to block it because of gloves, you are carrying their body weight on top of you.
Absolutely, and especially if you're on the cage.
And especially if you're against the cage, your body is all twisted up and things like that. So now you are getting tired at a much more faster rate than the other person is. And if you see that match, Volkanovski versus Islam first, in that the same thing happens because he's holding on, he's squeezing with the body triangle. By the end of third and fourth round, Islam starts to fatigue at a much higher rate than Volkanovski.
Absolutely.
And in MMA, this rate of who can fatigue faster matters so much.
And that's the science. That's the beauty of. See, when you have a 5-round fight, when you have a 5-round championship fight, you are working strategies. Okay, this is how I'm going to fight for the first 3 championships round. I'm going to. You have to have strategy.
How you pace yourself.
How you pace yourself. I think that's the correct word we are looking for. How you pace yourself is so damn important. And another thing, when you talk about back, if you have it when the guy is bottom and you have stretched that guy out and you have a Dagestani handcuff and you are on top and you have flattened the guy out, now you're pummeling him. That's a different story. But if you're carrying his weight, especially against the cage, a big no-no. Means I don't allow my... So, see, this is, I think, what... opportunity, and sometimes you get greedy. Okay, I want to do the rear naked choke. I don't allow my guys to do any kind of rear naked choke.
Here's a question for you. What is the worst thing that can happen to you when you are holding someone in the back while you are on the bottom?
They can turn towards you.
Exactly.
They can turn towards you, and believe me, it happens. Happening much more often.
Yes.
People think, okay, if I had the back, because see, once you are carrying somebody's weight, they're already turning, and what happens is they pin one of your legs. So people think, oh, I can hook them, I can, spread. It doesn't. One of your leg is pinned, and Demetrius Johnson, he fought someone, I don't know who, in one championship.
I'll give you a better example of the match that you're the example that you're giving. This was Roger Gracie versus Tim Kennedy.
Yes, exactly. What happened there?
See that match, Roger Gracie is the best jiu-jitsu
back guy of
ever.
All
time. Like, nobody escapes his back and any position.
He renegade choked Zakare for all that
But
matters.
in MMA, it's different, okay? Because the back position is different, the triangle ability is different. And Tim Kennedy, I believe twice or thrice, he escaped using a headlock and that spinning action.
Yes.
And
he grabbed the head and spin. Grabbed it from like this and spin. Grabbed it like that. And that's a wrestling move that a lot of wrestlers do when they are like bottom and their turtle position is being attacked by another person. They turn with holding their head, which is a lot of jiu-jitsu guys have not seen.
Yes.
And especially, I think when we talk about the back position, I think people need to rediscover, especially in MMA when it's in nascent stage in India, people need to think about what your back means, what your approach to drilling back position should be. Because I think in MMA, because there are so many different styles and sensibilities coming in, people need to have a priority list of what can be trained.
This is why I believe that people who are coaching MMA should always be updated with their research work. Because if you're, let's say, just a jiu-jitsu coach who is teaching MMA to his student or MMA grappling to his students, now there's so many things which are very different. Like in jiu-jitsu, holding side control, holding back like this as we are discussing, all of these are good practices, right?
Gems.
But as soon as you go into MMA, if you hold someone in side control, what are you doing next? Because your hands are tied up holding the person. So
and their leg is active.
And all those pins in which your hands are, so Danner talks about this, the hierarchy of pins.
Yeah.
So there are 2 types of pins. One hand assisted, second leg assisted. So example will be knee on belly, example will be leg assisted pin mount. Back is also leg and hand both mixed, but side control is something which is hand dominant.
And chest to chest connection.
Chest to chest. So whenever you have hand dominant grips in MMA, now you do not have the ability to actually
do ground and
damage, right? Yeah. And plus side control is so easy to just turtle up and escape from there that now in MMA, if you're a jiu-jitsu coach or if you're a grappling coach or if you're teaching people to pass the guard and go to side control rather, whereas staying in the half guard would result in much better success in ground.
That's why I think MMA coaches or MMA grappling coaches, what they need to do is have a keen sense of position which can lead to ground and pound.
Right.
I like to call them ground and pound coaches. Because it's not about the submission. Because your ground and pound softens up the victim for that submission. You can't be actively looking for submissions. You cannot be submission hunting because strikes are involved. And if you really ask me, what do I want my guys to do? Dude, ground and pound is much more safer to finish. Do your ground and pound, finish your opponent. Even if you are really good at arm bars, chokes and everything, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because the risk to reward ratio is just not acceptable.
Because you're winning points also while you're trying to work for submissions.
Exactly. And I just don't, there are a lot of people who favor the finish over the entirety of the fight.
Damian Maia, I was like very frustrated with his last few fights because his approach became, I do not want to hit the person while I'm working these dominant positions. He would be on mount and he would not punch the person.
He would like go for an armbar or try to take the back.
And then he would lose the position, end up on the bottom. And it would be so frustrating watching because now basically what you're saying is, what you're proving is, people will be like, Jiu-Jitsu does not work. No, it is working. He's controlling those dominant positions. He's just not adding strikes.
And I think the whole meta has changed. The whole thought process, it's not jiu-jitsu anymore.
It's grappling. It's
grappling. You got to understand that, greatest example, the B team, the advent of the B team, the rise of B team, everything else throughout. How many people have gone back to learning judo now?
A lot.
Right?
Wrestling.
Because that's the meta. Because when you have wrestling double legs, Ronda Rousey showed that double legs can be countered with Haraigoshi or Uchimatas and those throws, Tayotoshis and everything. Now the meta is that it's no longer judo, no longer wrestling, it's grappling. Do as you want and do as you need. Like if you see, Islam Makhachev is taking down good wrestlers, like wrestlers who double leg off the cage. Rafael dos Anjos was taken down by, and he's a good wrestler. Rafael dos Anjos was taken down by Khabib, Haraigoshi, right?
Khabib is
Khabib. He fought RDA, and what a beautiful throw. You see Islam Makhachev coming in and doing those beautiful throws. Right? He took down Charles Oliveira. And off the cage, that works. And you have to be updated with all those.
Judo is the best defensive wrestling tool that you can have. I like to think of it
and I think the best attacking tool against the cage.
Yes.
Best attacking tool against the cage.
Especially in the cage, yeah.
Especially against the cage, yes. Wrestling more so not, because when they like widespread those legs, it's very hard to take somebody down.
Yeah.
But if you know your offensive judo along with your wrestling, what a potent mix.
So wrestling is something which advocates that pressure in, trying to walk you down, and judo is something which welcomes it as a reaction to throw you, and that's where it becomes so successful.
Absolutely, I think because, and I'm not saying that it's easier for people to pick up judo or it's not. It's easy to pick up wrestling. I said that you should learn both, and why you should learn both? Because sometimes when you attack, for your pressure, for your control, you need wrestling. For your counter attack, you need your judo.
Yeah, I've been learning it the hard. Like I always liked judo from the beginning, and since I started working on my stand-up like a couple of years ago, I started incorporating a lot of wrestling and judo into my game. But now when I went with an actual judoka, like who has like 6 years of experience in Kathit, now I understand what is the difference between levels, because I would throw these people all the times in the gym, and now when I go with this guy, his just whizzer feels different, man. Like the pressure that he can generate on my shoulder, it shuts down all of my underhook attacks. I can't even single leg properly because of that strong whizzer.
And you see, that's what I'm saying, that when Kathit comes and does that whizzer, he is like 10 steps ahead of you. Okay, that you are going to do that leg placement, he's going to show you that Uchimata, and then he's going to come either with a Kochi or a Uchi or a far side Taitoshi. That he knows it. You don't know it. He knows it.
Yeah,
that's why his whizzer feels different. And you know what is brilliant about the modern day judo? I think people don't give enough credit to Karo Parisian. People who bought and like Goko Chivichian, these guys actually bought Nogi Judo to life, even there in the States, and their work of the whizzer.
Right.
Just now, if you know how to use that whizzer, see how Craig Jones actually threw Elliot Kelly.
Yeah.
Right?
Elliot
Kelly, right?
I think it was...
No, not Elliot Kelly. Someone, that was a big...
Dante Leon.
Whatever, sorry, on that. But, these things are happening. And, the whizzer, I think, is the new grip that everybody has.
It's a great offensive and defensive resource.
Even for MMA. Yeah. Even for MMA, I think it's a very, very good...
In MMA, you can shut their entire hand by that whizzer, and now your second hand can monitor and manage the other hand, right? So it's the great position to be.
Against the... but if you don't know what to do with that whizzer, you are actually giving that person intentional underhook.
Yes. Plus, a lot of people who hold on to whizzer for too long, becomes like a tool that other person can use it against you.
Because people think this is a whizzer when you hold on to it. People often forget that you have to have forward pressure for it to become a whizzer. And overhook is not always, that's a very fine line when people say, okay, I'm overhooking somebody, which is me holding on to somebody's arm from a top foot position. But let's say when I talk about whizzer, it's me holding on to somebody's, giving forward pressure to their shoulder so that they come forward a little bit. So it opens up the butterfly hooks,
breaks down their posture,
breaks down their posture, and leads to so many different possibilities. And this is the one thing that I always keep telling. Another thing, in MMA, what is the most underutilized guard do you think that there is?
Guard like open or close?
Open.
I would say butterfly.
Absolutely correct, because I think people don't use it enough in their scrambles. And the butterfly hook is, I think, the wrestler's Achilles heel.
Yes.
And
the
who showed that?
The pressure in, the more you elevate.
Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Every back take attempt, one of those double legs, what was happening? He was putting his butterfly hooks and elevating Islam Makhachev. And that's one of the things that more people should implement.
And that butterfly hook was also the Yoko Sumigeshi, the sideways butterfly hook.
Exactly.
And that has become such a big part of my repertoire as well, because it helps to counter all these wrestling positions, especially when you're kneeling.
Yeah.
Whenever they are trying to pass towards the back, as you said, you have to have that over back grip, and then you can use that same hook. And it is a very sneaky hook, like the sideways Sumigeshi hook. The regular one, everybody knows everyone can sprawl out of it. But this sideways hook, you really cannot sprawl out of. And the more you try to get around it, the more stronger it becomes in elevating your hip.
And also you see, it's also a very sneaky and an awesome leg lock entry.
Yes.
It gives you an out, like the Ashi Garami is like cross Ashi like this, because your legs already there, you're elevating them and whoop, you catch them and your leg locks right there. I think this integration of styles.
What do you think about leg locks in MMA? The roles, do you think that they have more potential, or people have already seen the potential and now it's just everyone will be aware of it?
In my in my opinion, leg locks in MMA need, if you are a guy like a Gordon Ryan, or top grapplers, you're like a Nicky Rod, you're like a Craig Jones, I think you can pull off a lot of things. But in general, they need still, they're in nascent stage when it comes to MMA, in my opinion. Why? Because strikes are involved. When I'm holding on to somebody's leg, if it's a knee bar, I'm exposing my back. Right? Now, if you're a guy like Rousimar Falares, who is like ripping your knee off, but did we see another Rousimar Falares? We didn't. So this goes to prove that leg locks in MMA, at least if you are very, very good at it, do it. If you're not, don't. Because they're still at the nascent stage of development.
Even guys like Ryan Hall and Gary Tonon, they both have gotten knocked out trying to finish leg locks.
And they are top leg lockers, right?
Yeah. But on the other hand, they have also had finisher in the leg locks. So
but who did they finish?
So they got the finish. But here's the thing. What I feel about leg locks is it should not be your go-to game.
Exactly. It should not be your only game.
It should not be your only game. Yeah. You should not fall for leg locks. That's the worst thing to do. Leg locks are best tool to use it to get out of situations.
Yes, I think a threat quotient for leg locks. Let's say if I'm on top, let's say I'm bottom, I'm threatening somebody, okay, I elevated you, now I'm going to go for a leg lock. Then he runs away.
Or then you start to reap their leg and they do not defend it. That's when you can actually get a leg lock.
Like as is Ryan Hall versus BJ Penn. What happened? Like, okay, another thing. It worked on BJ Penn, but on Ilia Topuria it didn't. What did Ilia Topuria do? Okay, you're going to get my leg, I'm just going to run away and then come and pummel you.
Just stay out. Same thing happened to Gary Tonon.
He got knocked out.
And the last opponent, it was a Dagestani looking guy who he finished. That same transition happened when that Dagestani guy was out wrestling him and he was moving towards his back.
Yeah.
So Gary Tonon just did a victor's roll.
And got the leg.
So those kind of transitions is where leg locks really shine, where you're losing a wrestling battle and now you can dive in for the legs, off balance them, get out of the situation.
Yeah, I think it's a kryptonite rather than your six shooter.
Right.
It cannot be your go-to weapon. It can be there in the repertoire.
But it should be there.
In the repertoire.
If you watch this match, Dariush versus Gamrot,
Dariush
used the inversion into leg locks all the time to get out.
Just to get out. Just to get out. And not only in that, you know, even Charles Oliveira sometimes threats the leg locks so that you don't stay there.
Right.
Okay, you are not engaging. That, I think that's the whole thing. You should use your submissions to threat people so that they do not block your guard.
Right.
And that's how a guy like Charles Oliveira shines. Why? Because Gaethje did not engage him in his guard. Chandler did not engage. Nobody engaged him in his guard because everybody knew, okay, if I go down there, I'm going to get triangled or something might happen. Yeah. Nothing might have happened. But the threat of them getting that sub.
Yeah. The guy who did engage was Islam, and then he immediately got a sub of his own because...
And I know I ate my words for that. You know, I was going all out on Oliveira and I did a podcast for MMA Now, and I said, okay, like... Islam Makhachev has no chance, this, that, and I ate my words. I'm sorry to Islam Makhachev because he proved me wrong.
I always pick in these situations whenever I have like a slick jiu-jitsu guy versus
a strong wrestler.
Strong wrestler with positional understanding. Yeah. Not only a wrestler, but a positional understanding. And these Dagestani guys, what they have done is they have adopted that true sense of grappling which we are talking about. They have
because of the folk style, my man.
They have incorporated judo. They have incorporated wrestling, sambo. I don't see them actually doing a lot of sambo stuff because
you see, sambo and judo you cannot differentiate.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Sambo is just an inferior version of MMA because you have jackets involved and things like that. You're doing the same punching, striking.
It's all the same. It's all the same.
So sambo is basically the preschool to MMA. You can say that. So
like pancreation is maybe 5, something like that.
So they have really adopted it in a true sense where they are doing everything. They know how to submit people. They have Kimuras that he has finished. This guy Dan Hooker with Dan Hooker and Drew Dober also. Drew Dober, I think he arm triangled.
Arm triangled. That was an arm triangle, and Dan Hooker he Kimura.
Yeah. So they know submissions, they know throws, they know how to wrestle, finish double legs.
And they know MMA submissions. This is what I keep telling people, that what's a good submission. For any submission that is coming from top is a good submission.
Right.
The only other submission that I truly tell people that you can do is a triangle.
From bottom, right?
From bottom.
Yeah.
Because I do not even suggest arm bars from the bottom, because now I think people have seen so many arm bars coming off from the bottom. They know how to defend it, and you always get pummeled if you miss it.
Plus, it always depends on the level of your opponent as well. Sometimes
you know how many arm bars do you see nowadays?
Yeah, very less.
Yeah,
and it's always safe to submit people from the top anyways, like arm triangles where you're not losing positions even if you lose the submission.
Yeah,
you should never go mount and then try to fall back for the armbar, because now if you lose, like Tony Ferguson, he did not tap to that brutal armbar that
but he should have, like, who wouldn't have tapped? But if you're Charles Oliveira, okay, you can do that armbar.
Yes.
Okay. But how many armbars do you see even? That's Kimura, I think, is the people are not studying enough Kimuras, because such a nice tool, you know, even as a defense, as an offense, as back take, as, you know, having ground and pound positions.
But sometimes people overuse the Kimura as well. So I was going to talk about Kimura and guillotines. These two submissions are submissions which are very widely used in MMA and widely taught in MMA, right? So guillotine is something which everyone should have in their arsenal, because during a takedown attempt or something, you find the neck, you get it. Especially the high wrist variation, not the regular one.
Don't fall on your back. That's a very common noob mistake that everybody does.
Yes.
Don't fall on your back.
Don't pull guard.
Don't pull guard. It's better to have one leg or your shin on the hip and another high on the back, so that you can go high wrist and fall onto your side, and it's never on the choking side. It's always away from the choking side.
When I teach people takedown defense, I don't even focus on things like Kimuras and guillotines a lot, because the problem is that people are so good at defending guillotines these days, especially wrestlers.
They will just drive into you. You can't finish it.
Whose only job is to finish takedowns, and because they do it in a MMA situation, in an MMA room, a lot of people are already attacking. Like guys like Islam, they are getting attacked by guillotine left and right every single day.
And I think they have created that awareness. Okay, my leg is going to get caught, and the greatest thing that a wrestler can do. Okay, I go for a double leg. The moment I take the double leg across, the guillotine's gone.
Yeah.
And most of these situations, what's the greatest leg entry do you think from a standing position? Would you agree it's a single leg?
Yeah. 100%.
So head inside single leg. The guillotine's already gone.
Yeah.
And most of MMA situations, because of the evolution of the sport of MMA, you see these guys coming in with head inside variations of double leg or a single leg. So the guillotine's almost like out of the window. If you don't know.
No, you can continue. Okay.
So if you don't know what to do with it, you seriously are not in the right business.
Right. I've seen so many people trying to free themselves from the rear body lock using Kimura, which is a very widely taught old Gracie combative moves, which people have not let go till now.
Yeah.
Like rear body lock, and you teach get the Kimura and now try to break free the grip. The problem with that is...
Where do you get the leverage from? I don't want to understand.
The problem with that is the Rose Namanuna's match. Everyone learned it the hard way. Whenever you try to do that, all the person has to do is switch to a high crotch instead of the rear body lock, lift you
and dump you on your head.
And due to the nature of the Kimura grip that you have, you do not have any base. You are committed onto the hand and you drop down straight on your head.
Yeah.
So this is something I've seen happen a lot of time, tons of time in training. So I do not recommend people using Kimura grips to get out of rear body lock. There are much better things that you can do.
Yeah, there are much better. Have you ever seen that grip work? I have seen that grip work somewhere in MMA, but I don't. But I have only seen it once in my life.
Very rare that you can get a reversal out of Kimura unless the person keeps committing on the leg. A lot of times, what you'll see happen is whenever people get the Kimura grip, the other person just
you know who attempted it. It was Luke Rockhold versus Tim Bosch. I don't remember whether it was the UFC or the Strikeforce, but that's where Tim Bosch attacked, and he merely went for that. Left it, then did like a Sumigaishi throw and finished with a Kimura, but that was a different story.
Even I was watching this MFN, I saw this guy Jatin compete from Cross Train Fight Club.
Jatin Chaudhary.
We were watching, watching it in the corner in the room where all the fighters were. And every single time this other dude was taking him down, he was latching onto that Kimura. And credit to him that he stayed connected to the Kimura for a long time and he got a few reversals out of it. But the problem is that Kimura is insanely fatiguing if people are putting pressure from the top. So by the round 2 or round 3, he was fried.
Arms are fatigued.
He was fried. You're holding onto that Kimura grip.
Because all I need to do is this, which is my natural defensive move. All you need to do is now fight my entire back muscle, my arms, my forearms and everything to make it go. And most people don't even know how to actually finish this.
Yeah. So he got a couple of reversals, but again, that just creates scrambles and now holding on to the Kimura grip becomes very difficult, especially in an MMA situation where people can explode out of the Kimura control.
Yes, definitely.
So that was a lot of technical talk. We have 1 minute remaining. We'll be on the other side very soon. Boom.
Aspinal versus Pavlovich. Who do you have?
Aspinal versus Sergei, no?
Yeah.
I think I'll go with Aspinal, bro.
Yes, much more better rounded.
Yeah, well-rounded, a little bit smarter guy.
Better takedowns.
But I'm very excited about this next card, first of all. Edwards versus
Colby Covington. I have Colby Covington.
That is going... I have Edwards because he has really worked on his takedown defense. Okay, on kar do. Boom. Hello guys, welcome back. Last segment of the podcast. So let's talk about the upcoming UFC 295, right?
Yep.
UFC 295. And UFC 295 is headed by Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. Now, Leon Edwards is the current world champion, welterweight champion of the world. He has finished Kamaru Usman once in the first fight. Actually, it was second fight. They've already fought 4 times now.
Yeah.
3 times.
3 times, not 4
and
times.
In the trilogy, he got a decision victory where Kamaru looked like very, very average. And due to that, those 2 fights, people...
And he also took Kamaru down.
Yes, and he actually got Kamaru down. He got his back also in the first match, if you remember. He took him down and then... So, Kamaru was looking very average due to those 2 fights and people are discounting him out. But let's go back to the last UFC where he came to a new weight division into the middleweight.
Yeah. In like 10 to 14 days notice. I think 10 days notice.
On 12 days notice.
On 12 days notice.
And he went against one of the poster boys of UFC right now, that is Khamzat.
Yiri Prohashka comes with so much of unpredictability. You cannot ever really say that he's out because he can catch you with something.
He can catch you, but the way he was getting caught by Glover in the last fight.
And also for the fact that I think Glover lost because he was just tired.
Glover was too tired and Glover made it was 1 minute left, bro. 1 minute left. He was winning the fight. He was
winning all the rounds.
He was beating up him from mount. All he had to do was just stay on the mount. And again, the same problem happened where he went for the guillotine when it was not required.
Round,
ended up on the bottom. It's fine. He escapes that position and now he's caught in the turtle. And in turtle, he just becomes so lax, he exposes his neck.
Exactly.
No hooks, nothing. He locks up the RNC and just squeezes the shit out of.
And see,
just
all
30
due respect,
seconds.
yeah, and all due respect to Glover Teixeira, his age is one factor, and also the fact that he was tired, because when the person doing the beating is always the tired who's more tired, because he's moving his arms, holding on to you. And man, how many times has Alex Pereira, Sport fought in the last, since the time he has made his debut, he has already been middleweight champion. He has moved up to another division, already, gone toe to toe with Jan Blachowicz, in which, people might say he was looking bad, but I think that coming up a division and fighting Jan Blachowicz and winning, and not getting rocked, and not getting, completely looking bad, I think hats off to him.
Yeah.
That guy is a big dude. Means he has to cut to light heavyweight. He used to cut to middleweight. And that guy is a huge, and the power in his hand. Do you think Yiri can handle that?
I think Yiri is not going to be Yiri is never handling that power, because he's so wide. Like, when you talk about unorthodox, whenever you talk about people who are unorthodox, and whenever people claim that these fighters are unorthodox, I just want to say that they are more less technical in that aspect. Less technical as in less sound in their technique, and less proficient, like the high level kickboxing technique that Pereira or a guy like Izzy can bring. These guys will not be like a total match for the technique, especially like going toe to toe on the technical level.
I think the combination, when you bring somebody like Cedric Doumbé, or when you bring somebody like let's say Mike Zambidis or an Andy Sauer, these are all kickboxing legends. You bring in somebody like a Rico Verhoeven, these guys, or a Gokhan Saki. I'm not saying that they are going to be very good transitions to MMA, but when you talk about striking the volume that these guys create are going to be completely different. And we have seen this in Pereira fights,
and
right?
the precision as well.
Yes, and we have seen this in Pereira fights. How many strikes that Pereira throws, he misses?
Not many.
Okay. And also, Pereira, because he has that tough chin and he has made this style work, he's not up here. He's here. Exactly. His punches are coming from here. So it's very hard to predict, okay, it's going to be an uppercut, it's going to be a jab, it's going to be a hook. Because from here, okay, I'm moving my shoulder this way. So if Yiri is unpredictable, so is Poatan, right? And I have stopped predicting fights, because I have eaten my words so many times in predicting fights. But now
we do that every week.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Because nowadays you definitely don't know who wins it. Because I said, okay, and I think it was me and you who were discussing, okay, it's going to be easy. Adesanya is winning this. Sean Strickland should not be there. And what did we have? We ate our what's like cereal, in the morning. And so I think Alex is also as unpredictable when it comes to a fight style, and those calf kicks are going to wreak havoc, because he does not have any recoil in any of his techniques. It's not that he goes back and then he throws, right? He just throws them, and with a big guy like it,
Pereira has the grappling advantage as well. Like, if it comes to it, I don't think he's ever going to go for a double leg or a single leg. Play. Boom. So, question: kickboxing versus Muay Thai, which is best?
Dutch kickboxing. See, first of all, you cannot compare them at all. People ask me, okay, can we compare both of them? I said, no, you can't compare them, because that would be foolish. Both of them have their own identity, each of their places. But why Dutch kickboxing is a better set for MMA? Okay, let's see that. Dutch kickboxing works on angles, right? So if I'm switching my stance, coming and changing my right hand to a lead left hook, and I'm throwing this right cross, right? So I'm also placing myself closer to the front leg of that person.
Right.
Easy to set up a single leg or a double leg, right?
Your body positioning is
exactly. So Dutch kickboxing allows you to cut those angles. If you see the history of Dutch kickboxing, why was Dutch kickboxing at one point of level more superior or winning more matches? Why was Ramon Dekers winning more matches against the Thais? You know why? Because these Dutch kickboxers found out what the Thais were not doing. Thais went in straight for the kill, right? So you're like, bam, this, going in straight.
And they're very square.
Which is an
easy recipe for a double leg.
Exactly. So now these Dutch kickboxers come, and they come from learning karate, like ancient karate, right? So where they have this concept of Tai Shabaki. So what Tai Shabaki generally means is cutting angles.
Yeah.
If you see coaches like Dwayne Ludwig.
This is a judo concept as well.
Yes, Tai Shabake. So when you are doing this Tai Shabake and Enshin or Kyokushin, not even so much so Ashihara and Enshin and Kyokushin, they put focus on this. You cut angles to actually kick or strike your opponent. And one of the greatest proponents of this person was Andy Hugh. Andy Hugh went against Thais. He was demolishing. Andy Hugh was in my view, one of the best kickboxers and strikers to ever lived, to ever grace this planet. Okay. Nice. So, and he was doing this. Why? Because he was mixing that style of punching and kicking with great sense of angles. Look at what Dwayne Ludwig did. Yeah. Look at what Dwayne Ludwig did with TJ Dillashaw. Now, whether you like him, whether you don't like him, that guy brought high level striking. 100%. And when you have a high level wrestler learning high level striking, TJ Dillashaw, my friend, whether we like him or not, whatever he did, we cannot take the skill away from him.
Yeah. Also, talking about angles and why it is so advantageous in MMA, what kickboxing does, it is that it also prevents you from getting hit back.
Yeah.
Because in Muay Thai, you trade, right? You trade strikes. Whoever survives is the battle of the strongest will, strongest body. Whereas in MMA, you want to not take as much damage, right?
Absolutely. You see someone called Masato Kobayashi. Like he's the prince of kickboxing. You see someone like Robin van Roosmalen, you see somebody like a Nicky Holzkin, you see somebody like a Andy Sauer, all these Dutch kick, you see someone like Ernesto Hoost. These guys came in and proved, okay, I can trade shots with you, but why would I? Right? I think they are like the real jiu-jitsu of kickboxing. What did jiu-jitsu tell us? Okay, why would I trade shots with you when I can grapple you, take you down and choke you? So Dutch kickboxing comes in, and I think Dutch kickboxing, specifically Dutch kickboxing comes in, okay, and this is the mixed martial arts of kickboxing. Right. And the jiu-jitsu, I like to call it the jiu-jitsu of kick. Why would I get hit if I can cut angle and hit you?
The mentality of being efficient.
Exactly. The mentality of being kickboxing. So Dutch kickboxing, for me, best set for MMA.
There's the verdict, guys. Muay Thai people, please don't get mad. Or you can in the comment section.
Or you can, seriously.
Arko will meet you there.
Yeah.
Alright, so guys, let's see if we have another exciting fight and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, Sergei Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinal. Let's go.
Tom Aspinal.
Tom Aspinal, and why?
Because I think he's a much more well-rounded fighter. He's much more smarter, better takedowns. But I also give one chance to Sergei. Why? Better boxing. Better kickboxing to Tom Aspinal though.
Yeah, but I think Tom will just take him down if it comes to it. How is Sergei's takedown defense? I haven't seen a lot of his matches.
I also have not seen him, but no, I don't know how his takedown defense is, but I know Tom Aspinall's takedown is quite good. Yes. And in the last match, I think he proved himself in the last match where his takedown was quite awesome.
He took him down and then he beat him up. Yeah. So even I have Tom Aspinall in that one. I think he's a better, well-rounded fighter, as you said, for MMA, and he's a smarter opponent. Yeah. But again, that kind of power that Sergei brings is the only kryptonite that Tom might have. Yes. In that division, if you connect, doesn't matter who is well-rounded, who is more.
You always have the Derek Lewis's of that division. Yes. Just stand up.
And I think Derek is also fighting on this card, though. I'm not sure. But
Derek is fighting one of the best prospects. I don't know where he's fighting on this card, or I think he's fighting this weekend on a fight night.
Oh yes, he's fighting.
He's fighting Yalton Almeida, and and I love that dude. I don't know whether he wins.
He's come from the Contender series, right?
Yes, I love. Have you seen Yalton? He's like the new Frank Mir.
Okay.
Of the heavyweight division. That guy reminds me of Frank Mir, and I think there would never be a Frank Mir, and Frank Mir is one of the best guys that I love Frank Mir because of his submissions. Yeah. One of the true heavyweights who could actually submit people. Now, Yalton Almeida is a submission wizard, but against Derek Lewis,
Derek says that he will just stand up.
Yeah. But Yalton Almeida is also a very good striker. It's not that and he sticks with you. Yeah. He has that Brazilian stickiness. Like he just sticks with you.
But man, what Derek did in his last fight, that flying knee, remember that? Yeah. Derek Lewis flying kneed his opponent.
And Diego Lima's teeth are loose. And Diego Lima's teeth are loose and he can't eat properly.
I mean, it's just loose. It would have been all shattered by now of such a black beast kicking him in the face, kneeing him in the face.
Absolutely.
So yeah, exciting week of fights coming up, guys. Keep a tab on it. We watch UFC together. Maybe we'll do another one on a bigger card. Maybe 296 will be a good time to do it. Personally, I'm leaving to IJJ for a week or 10 days long camp ahead of the ADCC trials. So wish me luck.
Absolutely, all the best. How is it's time to interview Piyush right now. How's your camp going?
Bro, so right now I'm injured. So I got caught by a nasty footlock, and I think it's my own fault to not tap a little bit early. I was like a couple of seconds late, and that just popped my foot, and I have been out of training for a week now. So this is like the most precious time. But still, I feel like it's all good. Whatever happens, happens. We have to keep moving forward. So yeah, going to IJJ will be key because there I'll get to roll and again get in that mindset with a lot of people who are also going to compete. Like Devojit is competing, who is a great prospect. Devesh is competing. He'll be in my weight division.
Yeah.
So
and I think both of these guys are the top grapplers.
Yes,
in their irrespective of their weight categories. I think they are one of the best.
IJJ is one of the fantastic team who is always there with the technical advantage.
And I think Rohit does. You don't even have to think. I think he's the OG of jiu-jitsu.
Yes, you were talking about subcontinentals, right? Yeah. He used to tell me stories how they all went to compete in subcontinentals and how they did. So
and that's where I met Devojit. And we in Bengali we have this very
he's
bad
also Dasgupta.
Exactly. So we have this funny thing. We Bengali say that a Dasgupta will always find another Dasgupta anywhere they go.
Achha.
And think of my surprise. I get into IJJ and it's Devojit and Devojit. Okay. Arko. Devojit Dasgupta. Arko Dasgupta. It was like he was my long lost girlfriend or something.
Same clan.
Same clan Dasgupta. So we rolled, and that's how I know. I came to know Rohit. I came to know Devojit. Fantastic people. They opened their gym to us, and we were rolling. And the next day, we were competing against each other.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You get to see that when he does.
But they were very nice people. Very nice.
IJJ
people.
has always been super welcoming. Even now, when I was talking to Rohit that I want to come, he was super nice. That sure you should come. Even though I'm going to compete against some of his guys, maybe. But it's all good, man. All of us are friends. We have trained together in the past. Excited to go to Bangalore once again after a long time. It has been, I think I was there at last triangle that we did there, which was a year and a half ago now. I also competed in the last triangle. So yeah, fun times ahead. We'll try to get more guests more soon because of this trip we'll not be able to upload. So yes guys, good catching up. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please follow Arko. What's your Instagram ID?
So my personal Instagram is Arko_Combat Clan and the team is The Combat Clan. You can go and see my page and content there. There is nothing much to see. But my beautiful face is there somewhere there. I'm trying to pose with my new rash guard.
Yeah, and if you're in Kolkata and if you want to train, you can hit this guy up.
Yes, train with the best.
Best. Like everyone is the best in each city. There are so many best people. I can't even say.
Yeah. That's another conversation.
Whenever I hear #train with the best,
and I'm like cringe. Okay, I want to go and comment. Who gave you that certification?
You are definitely not the best.
If you are writing it, you are definitely not the best. If you are writing it, if you are definitely not the best. You get me?
Sometimes I write it just to make other people like mad. Because when I write train with the best, like 5 other gyms in the city will be like, "Chalo, apna wo train with the best." And my coach is the best.
It's like you have to train with lions. And I'm like, at max, you're pussycats. At max, you're pussycats. You're not even lions.
And even people calling themselves lion is so cringe, bro. Lion is a fucking wild animal.
You are human beings. Okay? Like, I'm scared of spiders. What do you think I'm a lion for? Okay? I'm scared of fighters. He might be, scared of cockroaches. Who knows? And, you are just another human being trying to, learn martial arts and be cool.
Jiu-jitsu, like, fuck that.
Yeah, not even like...
You'll get punched in the face once and you'll become a blue belt from your...
I'm already a blue belt, so I will recede to being white. And that's another different story. It means it's been, 12 years? I'm just a 4th stripe blue belt. And I'm cool with it. Most people are like... how many people have showed off their purple belts to me?
Last time when I met Arko at... where did we meet?
Strangle.
No. We met there
at Gangtok.
Gangtok. I was going to say Shillong for some reason.
KFN.
KFN.
Kanchenjunga Fight Night. What event?
That's where we meet. Yeah, great event. So there he got drunk with me and after a couple beers he was lamenting the fact that he's just blue belt 4th stripe. So guys, please, whoever is his coach or if you're a black belt, please promote him.
Don't promote me.
Get him to the purple. 12 years doing jiu-jitsu. I think
still suck.
Everybody keeps sucking like till black belt, so that's not an excuse. So guys, on that note, abhi koi festival aa raha hai?
Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Happy
Merry
Diwali to all
Christmas,
of you.
Happy New Year. If I'm still alive, I can wish you all the festivals next year.
Holy shit, Doc. Those guys, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Boom. Good one.
That was fun.